Hello to everyone. I'm Denise, and today I'm going to talk about teaching language skills through literature and culture. So let's start with the role of literature in culture in language learning plays a crucial role by enhancing linguistic, cognitive, and cultural competences. Through storytelling, poetry, drama, learners develop reading and writing, listening and speaking skills in meaningful context. And for that reason, I prepare some activities, okay, about the literature. For example, I choose the Ecuadorian culture, the American literature, and the Italian literature. Okay? Okay, for Ecuadorian culture, I choose the poem Quejas by Dolores Mentimilla de Galindo. I prepare some activities, okay? The first activity is reading activity, okay? It's about close reading and analysis. The students have to provide, I have to provide the students with the poem Quejas and ask them to read it carefully. Then we have to make a discussion about 3 questions. The first question is, how does the poet express her emotions? The number 2 is, what words or phrases conveys suffering? And the third question, it could be, what social or personal struggles might be reflected in the poem? For the next activity, it's a writing activity. It's a personal reflection. For example, I have to ask a student to write a letter to Dolores Ventimilla as if they were her contemporary. Then the student should express their reactions to her emotions in the poem and offers words of support or advice, okay? But the listening activity is about the audio interpretation and discussion, okay? I have to play an audio recording of the poem, then express in intonation with expressive intonation. And while listening, the students should take notes on emotional tone, keywords that stand out, and imaginary that forms in their minds. Okay? And for the last activity is about speaking, the poetry recitation and interpretation. The students have to choose a stanza from Quejas and practice reading it with appropriate emotions and tones, okay? Each student should perform their stanza in front of the class. For this American literature, I choose Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare, okay? For the first activity is about reading, and it's about the Act 1, Scene 5, the first meeting analysis, okay? I have to provide students with the Act 1, Scene 5, where Romeo and Juliet met for the very first time, okay? Then we have to make a little forum with 3 questions. How Shakespeare used imaginary to describe a love for very sight, at the first sight, sorry. How do Romeo and Juliet words reflect their personalities? And the last question is, what does with exchange tell us about social norms and courtship in the place time? Okay. And now for reading activity, it's about the modern letter exchange. I have to ask students to rewrite a letter from the Juliet to Romeo or vice versa, and as if they were texting or writing an email today. And they should maintain the romantic tone, okay? For the listening activity, it's about balconyism analysis. Okay, for this activity, I have to play an audio recording of Act 2, Lesson 2, is about the famous balcony scene. Okay, then we have to make a little debate with 3 questions. Okay, it's about how does Juliet tone differs from Romeo? And the second question is what emotions do they express through their voice? And finally, for the speaking activity is a role playing and debate. It's about the montage versus the Capulet. Okay, I have to divide the class in 2 groups. For this side is about the montage, and for the other side is about the Capulet. Okay, each group most prepares arguments to defend their stance. They will then have a mini debate using evidence from the play. Okay? And finally, we have the Italian literature. It's about the I Promessi Sposi by Alessandro Manzoni. Okay? The first activity is about reading the character analysis. I have to assign students a passage where Don Abbondio, Renzo, and Lucia plays a key role. We have to discuss some questions. For example, how does Manzoni describe the character's emotions? The second question could be, what challenges do they face? And the third question could be, I don't know, what role these characters plays in the novel, themes of justice or morality. Okay, this is for reading activity, no? Then we have the writing activity. It's about the diary entry for Lucia and Renzo. The students have to write a diary entry from the perspective of Lucia or Renzo after an important event. For example, they forced to separation, the Lucia vows of chastity, or the Renzo escape. And for the last activity, it's about the speaking, the mock trial of Don Rodrigo. Okay, Don Rodrigo was the nobleman who tries to force Lucia into marriage. Okay, it's then I have to make I have to divide the class in 3 groups. The first group is about the defense. The second group is about the prosecution. And finally, the third group is the jury. Okay? The students have to mock the trial with presenting their cases and the jury deciding the verdict. And that's it. See you next time. Bye.